unexpected, spur of the moment live stream on Saturday night. Just felt like getting online. Not even sure why. Waiting for see if anybody notices because a lot of people who follow me have jobs, and so they're probably already getting ready to go to sleep tonight. But I had a couple things I thought I would talk about, and if anybody comes, then I will start to talk about it. I didn't get a chance to announce it on my channel or on Instagram. So if you're an Instagram person, you're probably not knowing. Excuse me, my eyes itching. Yeah. Had another really busy day on the homestead. Had a new lamb born. Don't even know if it's hey, Rocklick Ranch. There's someone. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, there's Scrappy Cat. Was watching a sheep blog. And it's Lost Light. It's been a while since I've got a live. Well, I'm glad I came on because it was an unplanned live. And I just felt like an unction, like I needed to go live. And it doesn't make any sense to me at all. So I was like, all right, I'll just do it. I'll just come online. We'll see what happens. Hey, John Rhea, is this the Super Bowl halftime show? It's better than that. And there's Aid Shalom and Silver Crane Martial Arts. Oh, you guys are online. Okay. A lot of people who work. I don't know if you want to go online at like whatever time it is in your time zone, but like it's starting to get a little bit late at night in my area. Okay, trying to, me and my technical there, that looks a little bit better. There's Landkeeper's Journey. So I have 2 moderators in here. That's awesome. Hey, George. One thing I wanted to share with y'all, hey Dawn, was I have this new computer. It's nothing special. Like there now, you can see it's lighting up my face. Super Bowl was today. Yeah, ask me if I watched it. No, I didn't. So it has almost nothing on it, and I thought, all right, let me see if I can upload something on it. I don't think it came with a movie player, so I ordered the the DVD player that you can plug into your computer, and I'm hoping I can watch movies on it. And I thought, well, I've got some old games laying around. Let me just see if I can load an old game onto the computer. Can I add more light? Not really. I'm off grid, right? Scrappy Cat? That's too much light. And that's a headlamp that I can't hold. I've got to look. Let me show you what my light is. I guess I can get it closer to me. So let me just show you what my light is here. There's the computer. That is what's lighting me. So when I say I'm off grid, I'm not joking. Like that's a lantern there. What I can try to do, Scrappy Cat, is see if I can bring it closer in. And that might make more light. Anyway, talking about this computer. Hey, Kevin Little. Oh, there. And Reverend 20 Piece and B&B Home. Oh, excuse me. Don't you know when you start talking, all of a sudden you have all these issues that you didn't have 5 minutes ago. That's why you often see YouTubers drinking when they're talking on videos and on live streams, because you get all this stuff going on that you didn't have going on when you weren't talking. Anyway, I've got this one game. It's really old, and I haven't played it in years. And I brought the disc down with me, and I couldn't install it on my last computer, and it doesn't make any sense to me because the last one is less technologically advanced than this one, but it kept saying it couldn't play it. And so I have it like in this old envelope. Like this is old school stuff, y'all. And I was just kind of leafing through it. And I also have 3 other games, and they're in the same packaging, but 2 of them don't have the essential like first disc, so I can't install them. So I ordered the whole game again and got all three of them. So I'm just going through these three containers going, why do I have all these extra discs for this game? And I took the top one and it said disc one on it, and I put it in that thing, and I realized it was disc one to this set. And I'm like, how did I miss that? How did I not see that in the last 10 years or whatever? Palmetto, it doesn't really matter. It's a micro, it's Age of Empires or something like that. Hey, Shadana from Wyoming. I've been through Wyoming this year twice, 4 times. Uh, how is it that the disc from the one game is in the container for the other game, and I didn't notice that ever? And how did I misplace it? And why, of all the days that have gone by since I, used to play these things regularly, is tonight the night that I find these things and I'm able to install this game on my latest computer? It's just weird. It's just I know it's the Lord's timing, it's Yahweh's timing, but I'm like, I don't even get it. I don't get it, and it really has nothing to do with what went on during the day. Like, I was on this computer doing a reservation, because, like I said, there's almost nothing installed on it. So, it's like, oh, that went well, and all right, well, let me just see. I'll just goof around. Oh gosh, it's just, there's Rocklet Kismet. Oh wow, building a computer, that's very talented. So then I was going to relay what I did for like 2 hours this afternoon. I went up, our sheep flock had an episode on Shabbat where one of the lambs had gotten caught in the Premier One fencing. And the way we kind of operate around here is on Friday, we try to make sure we get everybody squared away. And so for Shabbat, we don't really need to check on them. And so I hadn't checked on it. And just happenstance, one of the people who congregates with us walked by the fence and saw this lamb was all entangled up in it, and then needed to free this lamb, and needed help and whatever. And so I went up there and helped him. So that was a very strange thing to happen on Shabbat. And then today I went up there just to check and make sure this lamb didn't do the same thing. Excuse me, because sheep can be stupid. We had one sheep ruin 3 fences this summer because the male was chasing her around, and she just decided the best way to escape that, and it wasn't even an escape, was to run right through the Premier One fence and get all tangled up in it and rip it and ruin it. And so I'm like, let's make sure this doesn't happen again. So I went up there and checked on them, and then I decided I would move some fence. And there's a pretty what do you call it? Pretty good amount of the Premier One fencing up there, because if you keep animals, and especially these ungulates, you kind of have to rotate them. You can't keep them eating on the same area, or they start manifesting worms and parasites and stuff. Our days have been like yours. Interesting. I had a zip drive state forms from an old computer and tried to download it from 15 years ago. It worked. Right? It kind of makes me want to go back to other computers I have that quit working for whatever reason and see if I left something in the disk drive, or if, there's something like photos or whatever on them. I try to transfer all that information over, but yeah, it is kind of strange. Anyway, I went up there and I started moving fencing. And with the Premier One, there's different varieties. You can, some of them have a single post, some of them have a double post. Parts out of a PC that was in my closet to see what I could read. I wish I knew how to do that kind of stuff. And the weather's kind of cold. And so I went up there at 4, and I was thinking, hopefully this will only take an hour. And I tried to do it so that the sheep would not escape while I'm moving this fencing. Do any of you all have livestock? Do any of you all have like sheep or goats or cattle or anything? Okay. Let's try that. There, Lost Light. She has sheep. Okay, so you'll know. Like, the sheep are pretty smart. Like, these sheep are used to being in these fences, movable fences, and they when they see fence on the ground, they know they can cross it. And they had crossed the day that lamb got all tied up anyway. They're like, oh, look, the fence is down. We can wander around. So I was trying to move this fencing that is 100 feet long in shifts to like close up spaces they'd been on for a while and open up spaces that were new to them. And they kept watching me and trying to sneak up on me and get out. Like when I had to put some fence down on the ground and like it can get all tangled up. So spend time untangling it and whatnot. And I could just feel like even when my back was to him, I could tell like the oldest ewe was going to be creeping up on me, and I'd turn around and I'll be looking at me, and I like get out of here, chase them away, and they'd go. It's so funny if you think of a human doing this stuff like a kid or something, but they'd go away and they'd eat and they'd chew their cud for a while, and the whole time they're watching me. And then when I'm really involved in moving the fence and moving the fence, they would creep up on me again. So it took me 2 hours, but I finally got it done. And they immediately ran to the new area and just started munching, munching, munching. So, I'm glad I do it. 30 mule deer that hang out. I'm not computer literate, just know enough to get around. Well, Wyoming is, I'm not surprised you have 30 mule deer. I bet you've probably seen wolves and bear and everything else up there. Whoa. Hey, Miss Hot Cluck. Shalom. Good evening. So that was one of the things I kind of wanted to just share with everybody about, you come home at like 6 o'clock after doing that, and I'm just kind of exhausted. I don't want to have to prepare a fancy meal, and I still have things to do after that, like lock up my birds, feed the puppy. And so, my nights are usually pretty simple, and it's dark. You can tell, like I could be getting really sleepy right now, right? I had a long day. That's what the rest of the house looks like. And I was like, no, I'm just going to go online. Thirsty 103, shalom. See if anybody else showed up. I shot 3 pit bulls in my chicken coop last year. We used T-post and fencing. 2 herds of sheep killed by dogs. Yeah, neighborhood dogs are one of those things that are actually a whole lot more dangerous than the wildlife in the area. I have had more goats killed by neighborhood dogs than by coyotes. I don't think I've lost a goat to a coyote yet. Hey, do you have chickens? Really? That's cool. Are you getting eggs? You can probably loan money with them as collateral these days. My daughter-in-law said 5 Sussex chickens, which is a breed, after the Duke and Duchess of Sussex or Earl or whatever he is, sold for almost $400. 5 birds, $375 in northern Oklahoma at an auction. There's Jesus. I'm down to slicing bread once it cools and finishing up dishes for the night, and you're all making me think. I just need to build a fortress. Let's see. Coyotes, skunks, and raccoons. Watching for them. They have a dog. Don't know how to keep their animals on their own property. Pets or livestock. Technically that rubs chickens, but I tend to have them quite a lot. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Everybody say hi, too. If you haven't said hi, there's supposedly 55 people in here. I would like to see just say hi so I can see you. It's good to hear everyone talks about what they do, helps me plan my 1 acre homestead. Landkeeper, did I see a thing where your husband injured his arm? I'm studying for ham radio. I have reservations about having to be licensed with the FCC. Should I? I know ham radio operators and they do what they're supposed to, so I don't think it should make you nervous. I mean, that way you'll be legally able to use the ham radio waves and all that stuff. There's T. Hunter. I'm your neighbor. I'm watching this come over. My name is Jamie. Uh-huh. Sure. No. In a little over 2 years, I've had to help people get cows back in a pasture and out of a road more times than I can count. I did a video earlier on my channel. This one springtime, 3 different times, I saw cattle in the road and like took video of them. They're just wandering around, you know. I think the one video I took had like 5 or 6 cattle. They just decide, all right, time to go for a little walkabout. And they're valuable. Like you helping people with cattle, they are very valuable. It's like $1,000 to $2,000 running around on the hoof each cow. And so, you know, it's you're being a good person if you help anybody get their cattle back in their field. Goats are escape artists. They're very smart. They're smart as dogs, but they're also, they know they need to eat a variety of things. And so if you keep them in one area and you keep just trying to feed them hay or whatever, they will start to escape because they need to go nibble on all sorts of stuff. That guy again is on here. Here's Victor Garden and at Ramco. Hello from Dave of the Colorado Vikings. Hello, Dave. The chickens belong to Rob, but when Rob goes away, I look after them. Well, that's nice. After you're done, do they have an accent? There's Jorge Lopez. My chicken's laying has to do with lightning. I think I get layers mesh in the winter. Layers mesh in the winter? Not sure what you mean by that. Tried the livestock guardian dog. It wouldn't stay home. All the farmers in our area were ready to shoot dogs on sight. Don't want to be responsible for someone's dead animals. Yeah, livestock guardian, it's kind of hit or miss. We've had livestock guardian dogs who did attack neighbors' animals and had to be put down. You have to look at the breeding and like what kind of behavior the parents have, because one of the ones we got had very aggressive parent. Like the dad was very aggressive, and they ended up being aggressive too. But right now, this latest puppy that we have is from a very mellow family line, and so I'm hoping it'll be a different experience. Also, I went on the University, I think, of Texas website about training livestock guardian dogs, and they recommend that you actually wait until they're 2 years old after you've like trained them and they've matured and everything to actually put them in with your animals. So, you know, take that for whatever. Journey of John is here. Northwest Arkansas Prepper's here. Good evening, everyone. That guy again. What's your favorite movie? I don't think I have a favorite movie. I have several movies I enjoy watching. I like all of the Jane Austen novel movies. I like The Kingdom of Heaven. I like Gladiator, the original. I like Master and Commander. There's a lot of movies I like. I don't think that's gonna happen. Okay. Let's see. Stop it. Love the neighbor's roses. Yeah, they do. He got hit in the arm with a giant tree limb, but he's okay, nothing broken. That's coincidental. I was watching the Australia Alone series, and it's near the end, and a guy in there was trying to shake a tree, and a limb, the top half of it fell down and punched him right in his bicep. I just watched that, like within the last hour. Kismet, as Rock LaCranch would say. I've come around a curve at 50 mile an hour and see a cow in my lane. I've done that, only it was about 30 miles an hour. And PJ and I were driving a fire truck with a big tank on full of water, which is hard to slow down. And we came over a little rise and we were on the way to a scene. So we were sort of going as fast as this truck would go. And as we came over the rise, and this is nighttime, we see something down as we're coming down the other side of the hill. We see something in the road. It was a bull, big bull, just standing there. So we slammed on our brakes and honked the horn and then got on the radio and told everybody else, there's a bull loose in the area, just be cautious. There's Westhold Forge. Shalom. I just commented on something on your Instagram. There's the Covenant Homestead. Shalom. Yep. The biggest issue with ham licensing is when you get on and say your call sign, public information online is linked to it. You can check the info online too if you want to see how much is given out. Good a hint with Victory Garden. Okay, I don't care about that one. Oh wow, I'm way behind. I'm gonna scroll up. Yeah, Wyoming is open range, which makes us all good neighbors. However, we all own 35 acres minimum in my area. I wish some of you lived here. Cowliga is half Pyrenees, half German Shepherd. Nice. Favorite book as a livestock guardian dog training group. They are fairly good. Texas Sheep Lady. Shalom. And Numachan. Good evening. SK. Shalom. And there's Teresa Jukowitz. Long time no see. Hi, how are you, Teresa? Is anyone reading the Homestead series? I just started Black Autumn. Okay, let me scroll a little bit more. Wow, I am way behind. There's Sober Party and Cosmopolitan Cornbread. Shalom. How are you doing, lady? Dano, not in the lion's den. Okay, so it's interesting that you asked me about Homestead. And there's Grandma Ginger's farm. Shalom. I have some comments for you all, if you would like to hear them from the Exodus. Nice. How many of you read or saw the Homestead movie? Hey, Champ du Soleil. Just did my soil blocks in 10 weeks before last frost seeds. Awesome. I separated out those 2 packets that you asked me to. They're in my Bible bag. So next time I see you, remind me and I'll take them out for you. Have you seen or read the Homestead series? You're welcome. I might even have one of those books handy. Yep, there's one of them right there. Let's see if I can make this happen. There, this is the 3rd one. Conquistadors. There it is. By Jeff Kirkham and Jason Ross. And if any of you watch Bear Independent, he made a video, I think, about the Jeff Kirkham guy, because he's the one who invented the rats tourniquet, and there's a whole thing there. It's the same person, though. I think it's him. Okay, give us your opinion. Are you guys wanting to hear it? Give me a thumbs up or a yes or whatever. Or a no, I'm bored to tears. I don't want to hear anything about it. Oh, and let me show you. Oh, does anybody recognize this shirt? Okay, yes, please. I just watched the movie a few days ago. Some people use a P.O. box license. I don't care to use my address. Good tip from C103. And we're getting a yes. Yes to, okay. Yes, please. Okay, new John. All right, so I think I've put this together, and I think PJ may have mentioned it before, but Lamp Keeper, right on. This series is written by a Green Beret and a survivalist, and they are friends, and I think there's a photo in the back of some of the books. Whoa, you got to see up close and personal there. It's probably kind of scary. See if they're in the back of this book. Yeah, there's a picture of them. If I can show, yeah, there they are. So one of them is a Green Beret and the other one's a survivalist. And in the books, and here's, you're gonna get some information that, maybe you don't want to know, but what do they call that? I can't even remember, when you reveal part of a plot of a movie. There are characters in the books, Evan Hafer and Matt Best, who are real people. And they are the creators of Black Rifle Coffee. And they have several, Matt Best especially has several videos, and Evan Hafer's in them. And for whatever reason, I sort of got a feeling they might have been in or around Mormons in some of their videos, but I don't think either one of them is a Mormon. And so I'm also a member, the Angel Studio, who did The Chosen. I joined their app and I watched The Chosen series, which is a really good, spoiler alert, there it is. The Chosen is a really good biblical recounting of the days of Yeshua. And so I watched that through the Angel app. Well, then on the Instagram, I would get notices for Angel Studios, other movies they've been making. And there's a really cool one that's coming up called The Last Rifleman that I would like to see. But I would see on Instagram little things, questions for members of Angel Studios. And it would say, hey, would you be interested in a movie called Homestead? And they gave just a real brief outline of what the storyline might be. And whenever I saw those, I'd say, yeah, I'd be interested in watching a movie like that. And so eventually they made it, and then they advertised it, and it was only supposed to be available in theaters one day. And I think it might have been December 20th or something like that. And so if you had the app, they would send you notices oh, if you pre-buy the ticket, you're entered to win a homestead for $300,000. And if you buy your ticket early, you'll be entered into that. And it's, only available December 20th. And then they would have a list of the theaters that were going to show the thing. And there was none near me. But the app said, call your local theater and request the movie, and then it may show up. Hey, Texas Tea, shalom. And so come to find out, in my area, it was not available, but as time went by, more people had been calling the local theater, and so it became available locally. And so we went and saw the movie. And as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, spoiler alert, some parts of it are set in Utah. And the connection I'm trying to make, and I'm taking the really long path to get there, is I think what happened, obviously the authors of the books know Matt Best and Evan Hafer. Evan Hafer and Matt Best are very patriotic, and Black Rifle Coffee made them a lot of money. And so I think what they did was their friends told them, hey, we're writing a book. They probably joined Angel Theater app, and they have a higher level on there called the Guild. And if you're in the Guild, you get to float ideas for movie development. So I think what happened was Black Rifle Coffee probably joined as guild members, probably donated some money, and then suggested, hey, we should do this book because it's a story about homesteading and you're getting good feedback. We should do this movie. And I think that's why Angel Studios said, oh yeah, okay. And because Mormons are nominally Christians, it all kind of meshes together. So now, while I'm reading the books, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing more and more connections along this line. And spoiler alert, I said it before, Matt Best is a character in the book series, and so is Evan Hafer. So it's all meshed together. That's a background to the series. Now I can tell you, there were many things in the movie that, like, even my son's picking up on that, are like, no, 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 you wouldn't know, you don't do it that way. Firearms handling stuff that looked unsafe, unrealistic situations, descriptions of this homestead place, in the books. They describe it in different ways, like it's thousands of acres. Sometimes say it's 15 acres, 5 acres. It's like there's a lot of small details that, as an off-gridder and a military dependent and a firearms instructor, that are like, no, 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 no. But the thing that's good about the books and the movie is it gets people thinking. It gets people thinking, and it gives them a scenario to plan off of, whether it's realistic for your area or not. And because the one person was a Green Beret, he has a lot of information in the books that is accurate about political situations and the way government works and stuff. And those are entertaining to read. They move along at a good clip. There are lots and lots of characters. There's lots of situations. There's patriotic stuff. There's Mormon stuff. There's prepper stuff. I'm finding it entertaining to read. What? I've been range safety a few SK. Don't be range safety. Oh, I like being range safety. I like using my authoritative voice to tell people to freeze, stop, range is unsafe, everybody stop, kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, so I recommend it. You may not agree with everything in the movies or the books. I didn't agree with everything in there, but it is entertaining. And there are 10 of these books. So this is going to be some series that's going to affect the literary world in some way. There are other survival books, like the Survivalist series that came out in the 70s, and there are other survivalist books that people who are into prepping and stuff are going to read, and it kind of influences people. You pick up tips and information out of books like that, and this series is going to do that. It's going to kind of shape the genre, because there's 10 of them, and I think 33 characters, and yeah, excuse me, aren't the founders of Angel Studio Mormons? I don't know that. But if they are, then it would all make more sense. Like, I don't think Evan Hafer and Matt Best are Mormons, but I think they're friends with Mormons. So yeah, that's in the back of my mind when I'm reading them and stuff. It's like, They also have certain firearms they like. They have certain vehicles they like. They made, another spoiler alert, they talked about Pioneer Princess wood stoves being inside greenhouses to heat the greenhouses. And I thought, man, you have to have a lot of money to have, one, a greenhouse that can have a wood stove in it and not burn it down. Two, to have more than one wood stoves in a greenhouse. Like, it's got to be a massive greenhouse, and each wood stove costs around $5,000 or more dollars. So to have 4 of them in a greenhouse, you've just spent $20,000 on the stoves alone. And if you know anything about these wood stoves, and it's another little detail that in reality, if you have one, you know this, you have to feed them wood. It takes about 15 logs a day to keep that thing going at a temperature that keeps our house warm, and our house is small. So, like, if you had 4 Pioneer Princess wood stoves in your 6 greenhouses, and you're talking 24 of these wood stoves, woo! It's a lot. And you'd have to have a mountain of chopped wood to feed them. Dallas Jenkins is not a Mormon, but the Mormons have their own studios and all the tech stuff and work with Angel Studios to make all the things they are. Okay. Good information. Thanks for throwing that out there. As opposed to giving more money to Hollywood, which that's why I got on the app in the first place. I would like to see an alternative movie making business do well in America. And I like Bollywood movies too. Like there's so much Hollywood going on. And I've watched a few Mormon made movies about Mormon, traveling across the country in the 1800s and all that stuff. All my rich friends solve all their problems by throwing money. Well, it's money or time, right? If you have the money, save yourself time. I would love to have a Pioneer Princess hang on wood stove, but it wouldn't fit in my little kitchen. Well, you could have it outside, but yeah, no. Why they have limited skill sets? You don't need them. You just pay somebody else for their skills. Ha! Looking at greenhouse designs today, going to do a Wallapini greenhouse with a thermal mass heater rocket stove. Any wood stove will work. And there are smaller ones. There are wood stoves that are tiny. They have them for the little teardrop campers that you pull around with your pickup truck. So you can get a smaller one if you really want one. How is our actual relationship with Yeshua Messiah? That's the question for all of us, says Dano. We grew up as preppers. My ex-husband of 21 years was a member of LDS. I still have my manual, but never converted. I grew up as a Christian following Christ, not the church. Like, we dabbled in Mormonism a little when we were younger, but quickly said no. Do the books and movie line up? I tend to prefer the book story over the movie, or worth it to do both. The thing about the movie was they had to condense so much that it just, the action was fast, and it was harder to understand it, to get a bigger picture. I think the books, reading the books is better. Now, once you've read the books, watch the movie, and you can even do they've got an after series continuing the story on the Angel app. I don't know if you have to be a guild member to do it, but that might be interesting if you like the storyline and stuff. From the Vine, you outshot some Green Berets. If so, props, man. It wasn't like I was in direct competition with them. If you heard PJ's story, I got to shoot the kind of course that they had shot, and I did better than some of them. So, I was not under pressure standing up on the line shooting when they were shooting. I think that would really prove it, but generally speaking, yeah. Okay. All right. Taylor Swift's cousin. Sure you are. All right. I'm out. Have a good night. You too. As the older generation did, small monkey stove burning coal is hot. There's Jimmy Carr. Shalom. I have a Pioneer Queen. She's my wife. Ha ha ha. Shalom, y'all, says Divinely Blessed Designs. Okay, let's go this way. I know a lot of people, myself included, that thought Mormonism was interesting until they read the Book of Mormon. Right. I couldn't say I don't watch much, but if I'm looking for something that's entertainment, I'm not expecting it to be doctrinally correct. It's just entertainment that isn't flash. Right, it's very rare that you see something that's doctrinally correct, especially the way we are. And you know what I'm saying. The Chosen was pretty close, and that's why I watched it, because they were pretty close, and there was something spiritual about connecting with that story. They made it more accurate to the time, what the people wore, the relationship between the disciples. There was a lot there that I could emotionally connect with. Come on, Cosmo, you're a Pioneer Queen, aren't you? So I wanted to ask y'all, do you ever have the kind of woo-woo moments where stuff just lines up and lines up and lines up? Kind of like I was talking to Lamp Keeper's Journey, where her husband had a limb fall in his arm, and I had just watched a show, totally unrelated, didn't match notes with her or anything, and a guy in there got a limb hit his arm. Have you had woo-woo kind of moments like that? Or, thinking of a person and then they call you and say, hey, I was thinking about you. Or I do notice sometimes when I go to events, people who are all wearing the same color without coordinating it, like 2/3 of you are all wearing gray and nobody said, in a little memo, hey, show up in gray today. Like, I just, coincidental moments. Deja vu, SK. Yeah, like deja vu. Tell me the story you guys have had of that. We've had it a lot. Spiritual things, you're praying for someone, you haven't prayed for them in 5 years, and all of a sudden they're on your heart and you find out they were in an accident, or, stuff like that. Tell me your stories. I don't believe in any consequences. I was sitting at my desk a few months ago and realized I was living a dream I had a decade ago and forgot all about. Wow. Shalom, y'all. Have a blessed week, says Texas T. Yeah, for some people who are working, we're getting late. Woo-woo moments, yes. Things lining up. My ducks are drunks. My ducks used to line up when they went into their coop. Do y'all remember any of those things? I respect you that we shouldn't go down that rabbit hole, right? The deja vu one? My faith will not be shaken by discussing things that could or could not be true. Thinking of someone you haven't heard from in a while and they suddenly call you, right? I've had a chain of events. Would you like to hear a story? I've told it on other videos, but I seriously doubt anybody remembers it. I've seen PJ before I saw him. Truth, man. Ma'am. So did you see him in your mind's eye, or did you see him on YouTube first? Yes, absolutely. Holy Spirit potlucks. Hang on, without planning in advance. There you go. Synchronicity is the word I look for to what you're saying. Yep. Yours will be done. Yes, please, says Suze. Dreams. Okay. So this particular instance, I've been praying a lot, and this day I woke up and I said, Lord, I've got time. If you need me to do something for you, just, kind of have that happen. And so at that time we drove I think it was a Cherokee. It was a Jeep, but it wasn't the boxy 4-square Jeep. It was the one that's more like a station wagon, but not that long. And as I'm driving my kids to drop off at school, we pass another Jeep just like ours off the side of the road. And so I drop the kids off, and I feel like this is something I'm supposed to do. So I stop. No, I think the kids were even still in the car, and they're like middle school, high school age. And I stop and I say, hey, are you okay? And he's like, I've got a loose lug nut, but I don't have it's called the angle iron, right? The what you turn the lug nuts with? Tire iron. Yeah, tire iron. He didn't have a tire iron. And I knew I had a tire iron right under the middle seat, which is where it's stored in these Jeep Cherokees. And so I'm like, well, I've got one. Do you want to, you want to use it? And he's like, well, do you mind? And I'm like, no, it'll take me 2 seconds to get it out. So I got out, let him use the tire iron. He tightens up his lug nuts, and then he gives it back to me. And then we go continue on and run into a friend of ours. And gosh, I'm trying to remember how he came into this story. I know that I told him, like, check on that guy, make sure he gets away or something like that. And he said he would. So I dropped the kids off at the school, and then I drive to this little shop where it's like a stop and go, stop and gas or whatever. And I'm stopping in there, and I think I would just wanted to get like a Coke or something like that. And it's still early morning, and it's kind of rainy. And so as I go inside, there's a bulletin board. And I'm looking at the bulletin board. There was a friend of mine in there too, and we were chatting. And so I look at the bulletin board, and there's one of the advertisements, piece of papers that says lost dog. And it says, I'm trying to remember, it wasn't a spaniel. It's a brown and white bird dog. And it's like lost for, went out hunting or something, followed her nose, she got lost. If you see her, please call me, phone number. And I look at it, and I'm like, and interesting, like this hound dog is out running, chasing its nose and gets lost, and, isn't that funny or something like that. And I buy whatever I'm going to buy, and I go back and I get in my car, and I'm heading down to this other little town. It's down a hill. And I think maybe my friend was in the car now with me, and we were going to something down there, like I was meeting somebody or something like that. And so we're driving along, and it's wet. And don't you know, as we get to the main drag and the road levels out, dog in the road. And this dog is sniffing as it goes by. And often that's what dogs who get dumped or are lost are doing. They're sniffing the cars because they're trying to catch the scent of their owner. And so this friend and I had like a piece of fried chicken in the car with us, and we're like, oh, it's a lost dog. Maybe we should try to stop and, try to entice it into the car. And so we stop. Maybe this is after we'd had a meeting, because it was a little bit later in the day. We stop and we open the door, and we offer the dog the bone, and it kind of wants it. And so we lure the dog into the car with this chicken bone or whatever. And then I'm driving this person who's in the car with me. I'm going to drop her off somewhere. So I'm with the dog by myself and back to my house when it hits me that this might be the dog that was advertised. And so, and it's like I'm making one big circle in my area to go from my house to the school, and then to the little shop, and then back to my house. It's like a big circle. So I circle back around, and I drive back to the store, and I look at the description of the dog again, and I'm like, I think I found this guy's dog. So then I called him and said, hey, is your dog like brown and white and whatever? And he's like, yeah. So he met me at that little store and got his dog. So in that one morning, when I had said, Lord, use my hands, I'm free now, let me help some people if they need help, I helped the guy with the tire iron. I helped our friend, but I can't remember exactly how I did. Maybe I gave him some gas or gas money. Maybe he was running out of gas, and I think I may have given him gas money on the way to that little store. Saw the advertisement, saw the dog, and returned the dog, all in the same day. And that's to me, that's very woo-woo. It's very woo-woo. It's answered prayer, but it's also like, these things don't normally happen. All right, so Brittany Spaniel, that's it, Dano, thank you. Let me read some of your stories. Tire iron, thank you, you guys give me that. Okay. First Army wasn't flashbacks, it was something new. I showed up for the morning shift. Instead of closing at work one day, the guy scheduled to open was very upset, as a close friend had deleted himself the night before, and I was able to cover his shift. Wow, that is nice. Coincidence, says Nicola. I had an ex who woke up in the middle of the night, walked to the bathroom, and collapsed. When momentarily felt paralyzed, it was at sunup that she got word that her mother passed away that night. Yeah, exactly. The kind of thing that I was talking about. Whew, so I'm trying if there's another. Well, there was another story I had like that, and it was also around a gas station. And it was another day when I had said, let me help you. But I mean, I've had situations where I have this Jeep. I don't know if any of y'all saw the Jeep. I think I posted a picture of it on my channel. I've had that Jeep a long time, and I used to drive it around in the summertime with the doors off. And I might be driving, through the town near where we lived at the time and have that voice be like, pick up that person on the side of the road, give them a ride. And so that happened to me like two times. One of the times there was this group of school aged children, 6 or 8 of them, who were walking away from a swimming pool. And in this town, there's several of those cross streets and, lots of houses and stuff. So they're obviously live close enough to the pool to walk to the pool and back. And I had my daughters who were, one was like grade school age and the other one's middle school age, in the Jeep with me, and no doors or anything. And it's like, pick them up. And I'm like, okay, but it's kind of weird. They were African American, and I'm, a white lady. And I had that sort of hesitation, like, but then I thought, no, I had my daughters in the Jeep, and you can see in the Jeep, like, we're not a threat. So I pulled over and I said, do y'all want to ride home? And they said yes. And so they all jumped in. And, the Jeep's not that big as far as seating. There's like 4 seats. Shalom, Jimmy. But they had the time of their life just, hanging on and jamming in there. And I only had to drive them like 3 blocks, and then I let them off again. But I'm thinking, they may still remember those things when they're an adult. Like, remember that time when that one white lady picked us up and whatever. Anyway, those kind of things I really enjoy. Oh, there's old Trapper. Have to clean the house while I listen, but I'm here. I have some weird things happen in my life that are unexplainable. Well, go ahead and share, Shadana, if you want. Excuse me. And also, if there's anything else that you all want to talk about, please bring it up, or ask a question or whatever. I'm happy to discuss things. Everything in my life is unexplainable. I remember old Trapper said on a live stream recently that he is not fond of they're not cricket, the grasshopper people in the Revelation. What was it that you said, old Trapper? Some kind of being in Revelation, and you are trying to figure out how to something to your house to protect yourself from them. Locust. There you go. Yah has blessed me with a 7th child. Well, Mazel Tov. What kind of house cleaning are you doing? Small market town boy ends up in Texas. That's still strange to me. Aid, I know you have some other stories about weird things happening to you, but yeah, that is pretty weird when you think about it. My mom and I were in a museum, and there was a stone statue of Jesus holding a bowl. We heard a noise like scooting across the floor, and my lips to God's ear, it was moving towards us. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, that would give me the heebie-jeebies. My mom pushed by me and left me there. Were you terrified? I had something like that happen too, now that you say that. I was eating ice cream in a enamel bowl. You know, enamel is metal covered with like a glass coating, and I'd put some M&Ms in there and a spoon, and I set it on the counter, and that spoon moved like if it's a clock, and I put it down at the 3 position, it moved all by itself to the number 6 position. And I was like, "Whoa, that's kind of strange." And I could feel there was some force that moved it, and it probably was what my husband said, like there was probably some sort of magnetic creation between the coldness of the ice cream and the metal bowl and the spoon, but I I've never experienced it before or since, so that was kind of interesting. Um, have to run, but glad I able to catch you for a bit. Good night and shalom. Thanks for swinging by. Probably a demon, said the stray kitten. I mean, it's possible, although you would think something a little more dramatic. I think that will be very bad. They sound pretty bad. Well, my uncle is coming tomorrow, so I'm trying to clean the house up. Not a deep clean, but just picking things up. I bought a decent amount of food and supplies today. Well, good for you. But if you're an old trapper, how old is your uncle? I had a deja reveille where I had a dream about a speech, forgot about it, and saw it in person later. Oh, made my hair stand on end. That's an interesting story, and you reminded me of another story I have. I get excited when I buy food. Well, doesn't everyone? Is the stream ending already? No, not necessarily. Well, old trapper, you're 32. You're not old trapper. You're young trapper. Shalom, Lone Star Living. Welcome to the live stream. Another moderator. Old trapper, I'm sorry. I should have called you out too. Thank you for supporting the channel. And Jesus, she's a channel supporter. And I think that's the only ones who were in here tonight. I know that Teresa Jukowitz was like one of the first members to join. You're older than old trapper. Well, I'm definitely older than old trapper, but you're not like old Lone Star Living. You're still a young dude too. I think I misread what she said was moving. Oh. You're talking about the statue of Yeshua holding a bowl or whatever. Lone Star Living, we were just an old trapper. We were just sharing stories about woo-woo moments, good and bad or interesting. I had a dream once, many years ago, when I was in 7th grade. And in the dream specifically, I remember feeling somebody breathing on the back of my neck, like warm breath. And so I wake up the next morning and I go to school and I'm in my science class and I asked a question, and the teacher, who was male, leaned over the desk that I was sitting in, like from behind, because he was probably walking, you know, how teachers walk up and down the desk. I asked a question. So he leaned over and his warm breath, I could feel it on the back of my neck, just like it was in the dream the night before. Oh, a being crawling on the floor. Okay. Let's see. Lone Star Living, did you see the Homestead movie? Or read the books? You're welcome. I always say like old country boy and stuff like that. Hang on. I had lots of paranormal experiences, but they are strange, so I won't tell you. I'll tell you one story, though. Okay. Need to get going. Goats are kidding. May y'all bless. Hey, good luck with your goats. I've already had one born and I have another pregnant one. I think she's gonna pop any time now. So I hope they go okay. Ooh, after my mother passed, my family lost faith a little and we all heard three knocks at different times. Interesting. How do we support your channel, SK? Do you have Patreon? I do not, Numa Chan. So the way to support the channel when you're on YouTube like I am is there's a join button. It's blue. And like Patreon, there's three levels at which you can join. And this is YouTube. I did not make this up. They're like, you should have benefits for your members who join, and then they tell you what the benefits could be. And so I had a hard time like trying to figure out like for these different levels. Like the Neo Pioneers are the mid level, the crew members are the basic level, and the crew chiefs are the top level. And you get a little special, what do you call it? It's not a meme, a little picture next to your name if you're a channel supporter. And I'm supposed to give you a shout out, and so that's why I try to remember to do it. Northwest Arkansas Prepper, he's another one. And also sometimes when I take pictures or there's something going on and it's supposed to be special knowledge for my people, they will get a posting on the community page that is specifically for them. And the main benefit for a crew chief is I am writing a book and I excerpt parts of the book into the community page, and then the crew chiefs get to read that. And they're supposed to also be able to help me with the plot and stuff like that, but I haven't actually asked them yet for their input, and I should. And I think there's two of them. I think Lee Meats might be the other one. So it's kind of like Patreon, but it's through YouTube. Icon, said Amber, yeah. Isn't it funny how we think we are old? Consider how old Moses was. Laugh. Yeah. Okay, and then there was something else. Oh, he said that. Yeah. Paranormal experience, yes. Convoluted. It used to be much more simple. Well, and I say it in the video where I say like, and now you can join my channel. It was other people who watched the channel who suggested that I do that. I didn't myself say, oh yeah, I definitely want to monetize my channel and do all this other stuff. Like the amount of support I get from the channel is not impressive. And the people who join the channel are a majority of that. So I'm grateful. I'm thankful. And every once in a while, someone on here will do that super chat thing, but I don't even understand kind of how that works. And so I'm just very flattered when somebody does something like that, but I'm not pushing that. That's not why I have my channel. My channel is me sharing my information, and I'm trying to help people with my information and sometimes entertain. This means not user friendly and intuitive to figure out how the creator stuff works. Right. And I don't think them telling me how I should try to have benefits for my people, and it's very restrictive, is very helpful. It's like, it's not very creative. And to have those little bitty icons, I had to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to make them smaller, because you can't upload a regular picture. It's like, no, it won't work that way. You have to make it smaller. And so I went through all these conniptions to try to reduce those photos down so they'd be acceptable. And you can't even tell what they are half the time. And I tried to make them things that were homestead related. Excuse me. I just watched a channel. Well, no terrorist attack at the Super Bowl, so that's good. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Did you watch the halftime show? Do I do workshops or conventions? I do not, Shadana. I have a book that is called Homestead Hints, and it's for sale on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and stuff. It's pretty reasonably priced, and it has homesteading tips and hints from my experience in it, and I can recommend it if you don't have it. I think it's a pretty good book. I've gotten some decent reviews from people who've read it. And that's about it. I mean, like, we're retired, so there's not a lot of motivation to go do stuff like that. And usually, yeah, anyway. Is Lucy dog doing okay? Old Trapper, thank you for asking. She is, and excuse me, there's a whole story there. Um, what do you call it? She ran across the road in front of my car, and I had a friend with me. She was being chased by two black dogs, and they were tearing into her. And so I stopped the car, got out, yelled at those dogs in a country kind of get home kind of thing, and they did, which is a miracle. I would have, ended up probably taking a tire iron to them if they didn't, but they did. And then she literally jumped up in the car. And I had a canvas tarp on the back seat there because when, excuse me, when our dog rides in there, I don't like his hair shedding on the car. And she was so torn up, I could smell the blood on her. And she immediately smeared that canvas with blood and mud. She was soaking wet. I got my copy on eBay for $13, brand new, which is about what it costs brand new. And so immediately I was like, I cannot not take care of this dog because she was terrified for her life. She jumped into my car, so she knows she can be safe in a car, and she literally had 40 bites on her. Like, they were tearing into her. Some of the bites were pretty deep, like she had a definite like jaw, two on her haunch. She had a bite on her ear. She had bites on like her joints. So like her leg joint was swollen up because she had a bite like right there, and then another one on the inside of her elbow. And excuse me, I'm giving you the Lucy story because you asked the question. So I brought her home, and she was in shock. She was shivering. She was soaking wet and dirty. And no, I didn't bring her home right away. I went on to the place where I was going, and it was with other friends of mine. And we called ahead to them and said, hey, we got this wounded dog. Can you get ready for us to show up? And so we took her into their bathroom. We washed her gently. We rubbed her down, like rubbed all her wounds with hydrogen peroxide. And my friend had a spray, an antiseptic spray. So we sprayed all the wounds and turned the heat up so she could warm down. We tried to feed her. She wouldn't eat or drink anything. And I was there a couple of hours, and then I took her home. And when I got her home, I put her next to the wood stove on a dog pillow, and I sprayed the rest of her wounds with purple spray, and I offered her food again. And so she slept that night, and she drank a lot of water, and she ate some food, but she didn't move. And then when we went somewhere the next day, she got up and she went to the bathroom in our bedroom. So when I came back, I saw that she had done that, and I thought, okay, so she's probably not a potty trained dog. She's probably used to being in a kennel outside, and so she goes away from where she's laying down to go to the bathroom. Meanwhile, I dressed her wounds again, and then friends put her on Facebook, and someone contacted me about her and said, hey, she belongs to my grandpa. We want to come get her. And I replied to this person, I don't know you, and she's in really bad shape, so I would like to ask you some questions. And this person said, okay. And I said, what is her veterinarian's name? And why does she not have a collar on? And this person, the granddaughter, said, well, I don't know. I'm going to have to refer you to my grandpa. And so I got the grandpa's number, and we had a couple of phone calls. And after I talked to him, I kind of checked up on him. I called the sheriff's department. I called a local pound just to see if he'd been reported for anything. and he hadn't. And a pound organization actually had done things with him, had known him a while, and said, no, he's an all right guy. And the animal control lady said, oh, he's just a farm guy. This is a farm dog, but he doesn't abuse her. And so my mind was made up, and I contacted him, and I said, I'm ready to turn her over to you now. I'd had her about 3 or 4 days at this point, and I had been feeding her all sorts of stuff because she was thin. She was. So she had gotten some butter, some hamburgers, some dog food, milk, all sorts of stuff. And by the fourth day, most of her wounds had healed up except the deep ones. And she had gained a lot of energy, and she was actually very smart. She was a very smart, very athletic dog. Had a lot of respect for her. Because day 4, she's running around here, our property. She's playing with our puppy. She's, interested in all this stuff. She got potty trained in those 3 or 4 days as well. She figured out I didn't like what she was doing, and I started letting her out. And after that, not a problem. So, yeah, she's fine, and she's back home. So thank you for asking. All right, Kai Jen, I bought the book. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Well, thanks. Thank you. Will you all be speaking at the Ruckus? No, we are not this year. Okay. I'm so happy Lucy found you. I'm glad you found her when you did. I hate seeing things suffer. Well, me too. There's another woo-woo moment. Like, I'm just driving along going to my friend's house. I am not in rescue dog mode at all. Not expecting it. But they happened to run in front of my car on a country road, straight road. Could have been anybody driving by, but they ran in front of my car. And I know I have faced down other dogs before. Now, none of them have been rabid, but I know a lot about dog behavior. And when you get out and confront dogs and they're away from their home, a lot of times they don't feel as confident. Now, there's breeds that won't care. These ones were some kind of lab mix, I think. And being country dogs, normally they get yelled at. They wander off into neighbors' property, and then you get out there and you shoot at them and you yell at them and you sick your dogs on them and all sorts of stuff. And most dogs have heard the bad dog thing. So if you're sounding angry and yelling bad dog at them, many dogs will just turn tail and leave. So, I mean, I took a chance there. But yeah, come on. And then all of us are dog friendly people, and immediately my friend that I'm going to see is like, yep, bring her in my bathroom, we'll wash her. She got probably 6 towels dirty. She had all this medical stuff, like, right? Just a very fortunate thing. Let's see. Had one dog attacked by my other dogs. He ate barley juice for weeks after the attack, then he graduated to raw venison. He didn't stand for weeks, but fully recovered after several months. Yeah. Exactly. Gosh, and I was going to tell you another story, and I totally got distracted because of the question. Protestant wife. Spot authority, headship, and family structure according to Moses. Nice. I'm not a fan of cats. I heard a cat meowing under my cabin during downpour and fed it. Apparently, it lives here now. Dogs are my favorite animal by far. The cats that are with us now, like within my family, one of them, well, no, pretty much only one out of like 6 cats was an actual intentional rescue cat, went to a pound, adopted it. One cat climbed into our garage, into the back of that Jeep, and had kittens. Was not our cat. And then the next day she got hit by a car and left this bunch of kittens in the Jeep. and one of them ended up staying with one of my daughters. My other daughter did go to a pound, got a cat, kept that cat for a really long time until it finally passed. And then her other cat was a homeless cat who wandered up to her husband, and he fed her and she stayed around and she blessed them with a couple of sets of kittens until they had her fixed, and she's still with them. As a matter of fact, that cat, my one daughter's on Facebook, and she, looks at the Facebook for her area, and her cat was on a Facebook post posted by an elderly couple who said, "We're not sure whose cat this is, but she's really sweet, and she comes over and visits us every day and has a meal with us. If she's not owned by anyone, we would love to keep her, but if she's yours, please let us know." And my daughter thought that was hilarious, that this cat who'd been living on the street and that they adopted and moved to another state with her was wandering around finding food at another person's house and getting petted and everything else. It's just like a cat, right? So, mouse run under my bed this evening, would like a cat on duty today. Mouse trap too, set one. Adopted a kitty so sweet, do it again. Let's see. Our neighbor's dog got quilled. That dog was a trooper letting us pull those out. Yep, we got porcupines too. Woo! That would hurt. I don't know how all these animals find me. My husband says I have to stop looking people and pets in the eyes. I got pretty good with the old school wooden mouse traps when I was a kid. I modified them slightly to make them more sensitive and bait with peanut butter. Nothing makes it a week. Well, the one we only have one cat, and I won't tell you the story of how we got it, but sometimes I'm really annoyed. I'm not a cat person either, but she happens to live here outside, not inside. And just like a week ago, she went trotting by in the yard with a pack rat hanging out of her mouth, head out one side, butt out the other side, just proud of herself, just trotted right by me. And I'm like, you know what? You're not that bad. I kind of like you. Hey, Suze, I'm a sucker for the old and decrepit animals. Last cats we had messed up ears, one only partly there, and 2.5 teeth, but still tried to eat my dog, who wasn't in much better shape. Oh man, that's a funny story. My daughter recently sent me a photo of an old dog that's in the pound in her area. A little teeny dog with these big brown sad eyes. And I'm like, oh my God, if I didn't already have 30 animals, I would drive up there and adopt it. Oh my gosh. And his name's Pugsley. It's too much. Oh, we had a hunter cat who ate 3 meals every evening at the neighbors' houses. Right? Isn't that just like a cat? I remember reading a story about a cat whose family was mystified because it would disappear every winter and show up again in the summer. Come to find out, it was getting a ride with another family and going to Florida with them over the winter and then coming back home every year. I mean, come on. That's a pretty smart animal. Oh, gosh. Mm. I wish I could take in all the old dogs too. I wish I could take in the old dogs, the old goats, old horses. Like I could be one of those people who wound up doing one of those kind of things. Yeah, don't get me started. Ugh. I can't believe I said that because the animals I have drive me nuts. So, was there anybody here who needed prayer or had something on their heart they just wanted to talk about or share with somebody? Oh, and my elephants, that's right. Did I tell you this story about the elephants? I probably didn't. Do you guys want to hear a story about those elephants? Wish I could go to Florida too. Well, you're in Texas. I mean, just go to Galveston, right? If you want to hear the elephant story, do it elephant. There you go. Stray Kitten got it. Yeah. Okay. So we went to an Indian restaurant in our area. And the first time we went, I noticed the Indian elephant god. I forget his name now. One of you probably knows it. Because there's different statues and Shiva and all sorts of um, gods and stuff that they they can worship and often have like their favorite one, and there'll be a statue of that one in their house or their restaurant or whatever. And so it was all men servers that day, and it was really good food, and it's in a terrible part of town, so PJ doesn't like that part, but I good food, a variety of food. They have a mango mousse dessert that was amazing. And so we ate, and then in between that time is when Pastor Joe took me to Ganesh. Yeah, Ganesha. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it right, but yeah, Ganesh or whatever it is, right? Um, we went to the elephant sanctuary in between those times, and I'm like, oh, that was so, just a really lovely experience. The people are very caring. The Mahout guy knew a lot about elephants, and they are one of the larger shelters in the United States for Indian elephants, and Indian elephants are actually very endangered. There's only like 2,000 left on the planet. And so, it affected me very deeply. Well, the next time we went to that restaurant, I realized, like, okay, that back in Nesh, they probably really like elephants. And the server that day was a female, and she was kind of grumpy or whatever. And not very many people in there, so she was really busy. And at the end of after eating, I went up and I said, this is Ganesh, right? And she's like, yeah. And I said, and you like elephants? And she's like, yeah. And I said, well, there's a sanctuary 4 hours away from here with Indian elephants in it. And she's like, looking at me like, what? And I said, yeah, look. And I took the pictures out and I showed her. I'm like, these guys are 4 hours away. And she goes, from here? And I said, yeah. I said, they're in the next state over. And I mentioned the name to her, Hugo, and she looked on her map app and she goes, this place right here? And I'm like, yeah, there's like 27 of them. And she said, wow, okay. And I said, I just thought you guys might want to go see them. You might want to visit them. And she goes, yeah, I need something to do this weekend. She started to get really excited about it. And so I felt good in that I think she probably would have a connection. They are Indian elephants, and this is an Indian restaurant, and they're the ones who have this god there. I would think they would want to go visit. They might want to burn incense or whatever, but it's like I felt really good about making that connection for them. And I haven't gone back, or I could ask if I recognized her. Not sure my fence would hold a few others. I have enough property to have at least one or two, but no fencing at all. And my husband just like shakes my head at the idea. But if he ever makes me move to Southeast Asia in our retirement or whatever, I told him that's the deal right there. I'll go. You can put me in Burma, but I got to have me an elephant and his little Mahout guy. And Mahout, I think, is an Indian word, but we were at a Thai restaurant recently, and I asked the lady what the Thai word was, and she said it's plan. So it's like, in my mind, it's spelled like plan, but you don't say it like an American, it's plan. And so I need the elephant and the plan if I go to Thailand. There's Saucin. I would hate to pay for fencing that could contain an elephant. Where is the sanctuary? Hugo, Oklahoma. There's also one in Tennessee, and the one in Tennessee has like 19 elephants. Would it be much worse than goat fencing? It's electric. A lot of times it's electric. They'll just have like a single strand of electric fence, and the elephants are super smart, so they figure out, I don't want to mess. So you can't have just one. Elephants are more herd animals than sheep or goats. Well, sheep and goats are herd animals too, you know that. So you can't have just one. Way more cost effective than Jurassic Park makes it look. Yeah, and they had, at that particular sanctuary, each elephant had minders with it 24/7. They probably weren't the same. It was probably shift work, but in every enclosure where the elephants were, there was someone sitting nearby in a chair. So they take it seriously. Can't they just range here with the cattle? I think that would be awesome if Wyoming was like, yeah, over there in that one corner of the state, we have an elephant herd. Except that I don't think Wyoming's temperatures are as friendly for elephants. The big ones push the little ones into the fences to get through the fences. They even had a escape. I asked them, and they said yes, they had an elephant escape once, I think. And it was heading towards a nearby lake. And they someone saw it and, get the sheriff and headed it back. But they had water, like ponds and things in their enclosures for them to swim in. And the one in Tennessee has lakes because elephants like swimming and washing and all that. Let's see all the people trying to take selfies with a wild herd of elephants in North America. I think there's probably at least a few in Texas. I don't know for a fact, but you got some darn big ranches in Texas. Probably you could use it on the border. Oh, whoops, I won't get political. Any other comments, questions? I am starting to get a little bit tired. What is it, 9:30 or something? Let's see. Almost 10 o'clock. Whoa, boy. Excuse me. I'm looking through your comments to see if I missed anything. Aid, you didn't tell a story about deja vu or anything? Mary, you're here? Interesting stories. Thank you. Long time no see. How are you doing? I'm asleep. Shalom, y'all. Sleepy. Finished up the game and saw you were streaming. Aw. It's been great listening in, SK. Thank you. You're welcome. Must you? Elephants live 60 to 65 years or longer. They live a very long time. And all your kids, you are the Mary with like homeschooling, and you were the last time I remember seeing you online, you were doing a thing with your food. You were trying to make all your meals from your food storage or something. I guess it's bedtime, and the Lord keep you all. Have a blessed night. Until next time. Yeah, we can say goodnight after Mary, you answer the question, and then I'll say goodnight. Yep, she forages. All right. Patty, we're just shutting it down. Thanks for being a channel supporter. I'm so sorry. I know you weren't watching the Super Bowl, were you? I heard they were splicing Indian elephant genes with woolly mammoth genes. I heard they were trying to impregnate a Indian elephant with a cloned woolly mammoth gene. Yeah, watching the Super Bowl. Okay. All right. Well, there were like 3 other people in here. Moshe and Saucin were watching it too, and then they decided to hop on. But yeah, we all just said we're tired. We've been on like an hour and a half. It was Sunday Night Live. Woo! All right, y'all. Shalom. Thanks for coming to the live stream. I enjoyed talking to you. Shavua Tov, or Shavua Tov. Good day. All right, bless you. Shalom. Okay.